How did we get to the point in America where a generation has grown up believing lies that this country is evil, was founded by evil men, and it must be therefore dismantled from the Constitution to capitalism? It's crucial to the survival of our republic that we remind those who will listen about our true, unedited history, including the founding of our nation, on the living God and the biblical worldview. The question, however, is, are we a little too late? I'm David Fiorazzo, and this is Christ and Culture. I've said this before, we are in a worldview war and the left is winning. Do we have the will to fight back? Now, first, we need to recognize the reality of spiritual warfare here. There are battles in the heavenly realms over nations because of what they stand for, as well as over the people in those nations. Now, the enemy hates America because of the God we were once united under, and because of the believers who still represent him. Part of this epic war has manifested as hatred directed at Christians and the church. Why is this? Well, a person's foundational assumptions about God and man directly influence their philosophy of law and government. This is why we see the intense moral battle for America's soul and whether or not to uphold the U.S. Constitution as the law of the land. Though not perfect, America made it this far in history because we once sought to glorify the Lord, obey his commands, and there was little resistance to advancing the Christian faith. So George Barna released a disturbing study finding that less and less people in America today believe in or support Christianity. The alarming title was, U.S. Moving Toward Elimination of Biblical Worldview as Cornerstone of Society. Stop for a few seconds and consider the word elimination. Now, it took time to reach this point. While we were sleeping over the decades and decades, the enemy of our souls and enemies of America have been working overtime. In my new book, Canceling Christianity, I write in chapter 3, which is called The Historic Impact of Christianity. Because generations now have been deceived, and our culture now sees the church as non-essential. Really? Well, the overwhelming evidence for the tremendous positive influence of Christianity worldwide is undeniable, and yet some people not only minimize Christianity's impact, they also claim that we would be better off without the church. Well, the truth is, no one has impacted and improved the world like Jesus Christ. Hundreds of millions of people have been transformed by the Word of God because the United States was, in fact, built on, strengthened, and blessed by Christianity. Now, some of these life-changing biblical principles include the following: the value and sanctity of every human life, the abolition of slavery, dignity and respect given to women, the stability of the family, advances in science, hospitals, health care, labor practices, economic freedom, educating the poor, feeding the hungry, caring for the sick, reforming laws to protect the weak, art, literature, architecture, education, philosophy, compassion, charity, justice, and of course, equality. That's a partial list. Now, you would have to be in denial, be uninformed, or indignant to argue that the Christian church has not been a tremendous instrument for good, or that Christians have not turned the world into a better place over the past 2,000 years. The church has shortcomings, yes, but they are heavily outweighed by its vast benefits to mankind throughout history. But anti-Christian and anti-American programming and propaganda has led to a change in public opinion through the years to where people now have a negative impression of God and the church. Now, for more than 50 years or more, studies have concluded fewer young people see the Christian faith in a positive light. Why would people not appreciate teachings about faith, loving God and their neighbor, compassion, forgiveness, family, generosity, respect for life, true justice, hard work, sexual purity, thanksgiving, and hope, because they replaced God with one of their own, one in their own image. And it's vital that we re-educate and inform others about the historical contributions of Christianity and show them the church is essential to a society like ours. So many churches, charities, nonprofits, and charitable organizations could be noted here, but I want to just include a few. The Salvation Army, YMCA, Red Cross, Samaritan's Purse, World Vision, Food for the Hungry, Lutheran World Relief, Mercy Ships, and Compassion International, and the list could go on. Dozens of Christian relief organizations do so much good for America and the world, employing more than 30,000 humanitarian workers, shipping more than 225 metric tons of food, and handling disaster relief for millions of people annually. They serve the needy with food, clothing, medical care and supplies, small loans, drinkable water, and shelter. Now, you've probably heard the following quote, most often attributed to historian Alexis de Tocqueville in the 1800s, as he visited the U.S. to find out the reason for our national success. He looked everywhere, politics, economy, but, quote, not until I went into the churches of America and heard her pulpits aflame with righteousness did I understand the secret of her genius and power. America is great because she is good. And if America ever ceases to be good, she will cease to be great. True Christianity breeds strong families, and the Word of God, boldly proclaimed in righteousness, leads to a moral, stable, prosperous culture. The fruit of biblical teachings have produced revolutionary changes in every way imaginable. Contrary to popular opinion, Christianity has made the world a better place, and so has America. Don't fall for the lies. We dropped the ball now, big time last year, in the face of a virus and closed our life-preserving churches, leading to the label non-essential. What a lie. We must reverse that narrative by being the true church, preaching the gospel, working to demonstrate God's love, and showing that the church is alive, well, and vital. Jesus Christ was not a political figure. He had no affiliation with kings, governors, religious leaders of his day. He made no demands. He lived in poverty, taught with authority, and his followers were mostly uneducated. And yet, they, as well as those influenced by them, impacted millions upon millions more than Alexander the Great, Muhammad, and Napoleon put together, no contest. Jesus changed history and turned the world right side up. Imagine the worldwide darkness without the light of Christ and his church. God bless you, and keep speaking the truth about things that matter.